Coach, what did you see in the second half ultimately that was kind of the one pinpoint of that allowed Pitt to come back?
Well, ultimately, it's the defensive job, obviously, to get the ball back for our offense, and we did not do a great job of that in the second half. So we felt like, obviously, for the first half and coming out of the second half, we were in pretty good shape, and we didn't do that down the stretch of the game. And we gave up some big plays, which you can't do. So you can't give up big chunk plays, and we didn't limit their ability to do that. So obviously, it wasn't a good outcome for our team.
Have you had games like that where three quarters of the game, it's like you guys are looking pretty good overall, both sides, and then fourth quarter just things get discombobulated?
I would say in the game of football, in the world of sports, you have about every type of game along the way, I would say. So I've been involved in those before, and hopefully you're involved in fewer of those than you are more. So, but yes.
First game back for Dante on Saturday. Just as a coach and a defensive coordinator, just walk us through what it was like on your end to see him get back out there healthy.
Yeah, it was awesome to have him out, obviously, for himself and for our team collectively. We know that Dante has great ability, and I'm sure it's no mystery he's working himself back into that game type of shape. He's done a great job with conditioning and doing all those things, but obviously once you have 600 pounds pounded on you in four hands and those type of things continuously, that's a different type of conditioning. So we're hoping that we can build that condition that he needs throughout time, and we'd love for him to be in there full time.
When you look at the kind of point of attack, line of scrimmage right now, how would you assess your defensive line's ability to hold that down and hold the ends?
There's been times where we've been really pleased with what all of our guys really have done. There's times, we haven't performed. So I think, collectively as a defensive unit, we're working on the consistency part of it. We are playing a number of guys, and we're trying to replicate that in practice with different combinations. So we think that gives us the best chance to have success, and we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully we can become more consistent as a defense.
Lost Minkins after the pick, and then halftime he's out. How did that change what you were doing, and how does that look for this coming week with guys? I think Logan stepped in.
Sure, yeah, you're right. We used a couple different groups of guys. Josh is a starter. Obviously, anytime you lose a guy, that's a starter, and a veteran guy. You'd like for that clearly not to happen. So, but it's again, that's why we've got a depth chart, and the next guy's up. And just like in the second half, we had to do a few things there with some guys, and we'll continue to work guys in at that spot, and hopefully be able to be as good as we can be.
Jordan Young is the number one corner. I haven't noticed him in a bad way. I've only noticed him in a couple of good ways for the most part through two games. Is that how you guys have felt on your end?
Absolutely. I think our corners have done a nice job collectively. We're playing, in a lot of different scenarios, whether it be in the red zone, 1st and 10, 3rd and long. Those same guys are staying in the game for us. So they've gotten a lot of reps, and we feel like they've done really well for us. Absolutely.
Coach Satterfield talked about the give and take of sending three and having the defensive backfield ready to cover, and then blitzing, but having less. What's your comfort level with the defensive backfield right now? If you were to say, these next two series, I'm going to bring 4 and 5 guys more aggressively.
Yeah, I think, as you head into a game always with a plan of attack. At times, based on things that are working or maybe not, you're changing that along the way, right? I think we've got an idea of what our guys can do. We're constantly trying to put them in the best position. So there is a mix of what you just said, as you know from being at the games, and we're trying to keep offenses off balance as best we can. So we're going to try to continue to mix that up for sure.
What have you seen of Gabbard? Last year he made some plays with his legs. I know
Absolutely.
You were here, but 3 touchdowns and he had 75 yards.
Yeah, he's a veteran guy, a 6-year guy. He's a great quarterback. He'll be as good as the quarterback that we'll probably see. He's experienced. He got a ton of snaps. He's battled back from injury, and he's a leader. So I think anytime you're facing a guy like that, you've got quite a challenge ahead of you.
A lot of pass breakups and near interceptions so far this season. Is there any tips you can give guys about that, or is it just you got to catch the ball?
Well, you're trying to finish plays in practice, right? And that's our emphasis, is to do that. So we feel if you finish plays in practice and you intercept the ball in practice, you've got a better chance to do that in the game. If you're breaking up passes and not intercepting the ones you should in practice, that's probably going to correlate in the same in the game. Same as making or missing tackles and being around the ball. So we're trying to replicate that stuff. we're trying to make practice days as game-like as we can, and you have to finish in practice to have a chance to finish in games.
2 games as defensive coordinator here. You're back in charge of the defense. What's it kind of been like? Like, how much has it changed from when you stepped here when you first got the job? What has these 2 games done for you?
Well, naturally, the season is much more different than spring ball and going against your guys in fall camp, obviously, for 1,000 reasons. And you know, we've had some positive moments, obviously, along the way, and we've got some things we clearly need to improve upon. And our guys are working every day to do that. We're working every day as coaches to do that, and hopefully we can continue to close the margins.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.
Appreciate it.